Good morning, good evening and good afternoon YouTube. Welcome back to Ireland. We are talking about Irish housing crisis today. Again, there have been some new developments, so we will be talking about that. We're gonna try to figure out, is the situation getting better or worse? Is the Irish housing crisis getting solved? Is it, generally with one and only Ginger Lady, of course.
Hi guys! We're in our finest orange for this show this week, and I'm very excited to talk about everything to do with houses and accommodation and all that stuff that drives us all daft.
We're gonna start with our rent history, let's call it like that. Lorraine's gonna tell you her story. Mine is 7 years ago, I moved to Ireland. I spent first 3 weeks in a hostel looking for accommodation. After that, I got a room which I was paying 400 euros per month, so that was 2017. Moved into another house, also just renting a room for the same price. I stayed there for a year, I think, something like that. And then after that, we moved into our house where we live still, which we are paying 1100 euros per month. Two of us live there with one other couple. So that is my rent history, just to keep in mind when we move further along in this video.
Mine is not as exciting as his. I was in my own home, my family home, for the last 30 odd years, and the first experience of moving out was with himself. So I actually have zero experience when it comes to renting a room, living with strangers, and even actually now that I'm older and I'm 40, well, I'm going to be 40 next year, I don't know if I could do that whole thing, living in a room and a load of strangers in the house, because you never know what'll happen. Someone could come into your house and try and kill you in your bed. And then there's the cost of rooms nowadays compared to when himself was renting, and all of that interesting stuff that we shall cover in the rest of in this video. So you'll have to stay tuned to the end to see our thoughts. And then you can comment and tell us what you think. Not all is lost. Now, we know the prices and apartments and houses here in Ireland is quite expensive. For anyone that is not aware, you could buy an apartment for about 250 to 300,000, and you can also buy a house for 500,000 up, depending on how many rooms, blah, blah, blah. Now, there is lots of different schemes from the past, and going into 2025, the government are going to try to help people become first-time owners. For example, in the past, if you were renting a house from the government, you would have an option to pay off that house once you're in that property for a couple of years. So that initiative was very, very good, and people have benefited mightily from their houses currently because they nearly have their mortgage paid, and they wouldn't have paid as much as people are paying now for those same properties. But yeah, so moving on, there is 2 active schemes currently, and I'm going to throw the 2 of them out there for anyone that may be interested in. For the first one, there's called a first home scheme. Say, for example, you are renting a home and you have an opportunity to buy it. You can get 20% off that mortgage, or is it? I think it is 20%. Yes. But you will, the government will own a share in that house. So just take note with that one, that you will own that house, but you will also have to share the property with the government, but you can buy the whole thing off the government eventually. And the second one is a help to buy scheme, and they will offer you about 30,000 depending on your income and your taxes you've paid over 4 to 5 years, and so on and so forth. They will also be able to give you a grant and to help you with obviously the cost of buying that house. But again, guys, take note. Everyone is different. It's all taken into account what you make, you and your partner, if you're a single person, all of these things are taken into account, and if you're being paying taxes. So if you just arrived in the country, I don't think it's going to be as easy if you're walking into a bank and be like, hey, I want a mortgage to buy a 500,000 2-bedroom apartment, because that probably won't happen. So definitely look under your different government sites to get more information in regards to buying and helping you purchase your first time home here in lovely Ireland.
Now, Dublin, of course, folks, is a completely different story. The prices of rent there are at least double the Galway, sometimes even more. And the stories we hear here is that if you manage to find something, chances are it's gonna be a complete shithole with mold and leaking roofs, shitty windows, all that stuff. I mean, you've heard the stories.
Yeah, there's like loads of people that complain about the quality, and the mold situation is not funny, guys. There's also overcrowding in apartments and stuff, and extortionate, crazy priced rent.
I've heard stories where people are paying 1,500 euros for a room, not anything bigger.
And it's like, I wouldn't mind paying that for something that is warm, mold-free, and it's actually quite comfortable. But you're looking at the tiniest, probably little room, like a normal little box room, say, as we call them here in Ireland, and you're paying nearly 2,000, which is insane. Maybe not 2,000, but definitely.
You never know. I wouldn't be surprised.
About.
If you're from Dublin, or you know someone from Dublin with a similar story, let us know in the comments, because the most of the questions we get about accommodation in Ireland is people asking us about Dublin, and I've never lived there. She never lived there. I was there, if I don't count the airport, 2 times in my life. So there's nothing much we can
compare to, I guess. Yeah, because we're not up there that often. But from the people that I do work with, I was working with a guy that he has to take the train up and down from Dublin to Galway because he couldn't find a place here in Galway to live. He said his apartment is awful and he is paying €900 for it, and he's sharing the house with like loads of other people, and his room is literally
so he's paying for a room, not
he's
an
paying
apartment.
for a room, no, in a house. So and his room probably was probably a broom room at one point, because it's literally beside the kitchen. So
Let us know what you think. And so what are what's the government doing about it? Well, let's talk about that now. I'm gonna read this just so I don't get it wrong. Proposals are being considered to allow modular or cabin style homes be exempt from planning permission. That was not the case up until now, I believe. So what does that mean, and will that help the situation? Well, hypothetically, if I understood this correctly, it means that if you already own a house and you have a big portion of backyard, something like this, you will be able to build a modular house there to put your, I don't know, yourself and leave your main house to the kids, or put your, I don't know, grandparents in that house or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know, maybe Lorraine knows. Do you know if you would own a land somewhere next to, I don't know, Cork, would that mean that we can just buy a modular house now or not? I don't know how that works.
basically, from what we can gather, if you have, say, hypothetically, a piece of land and you want to put your house on it, once it follows certain rules for like underground like pipe work, and it's not it has to blend in with the with the surroundings, and there's kind of a few things that needs to be ticked off on that list.
Comment section, you tell us, if we own a land, this one for example, imagine this is our land behind Lorraine, can we just buy a modular house and put it there?
But I think you have to have road frontage. I think you need to be able to come out onto a main road. I don't think it can. Yeah, there's loads there. It's actually quite an exciting topic for me. So,
do you think that will help the situation?
yes, of course. I know lots of people are like, no, it won't, because there'll be modular homes all over the place and in people's back gardens. But they won't be, because, guys, you cannot just say now in a housing estate and you have only a certain limited amount of garden, you will not be able to put a modular home in that small area, because you have to take into account the underground piping and all that situation, because there has to be waste management and has to be things that are covered before you can put a modular house in it, because it's not just piece of wood or steel and sitting it there. You have to run electricity there, water through there, all that stuff. So there's going to be lots of things that will be covered on that. But I think it's an exciting thing, and I think it's going to be a great way to help people get a future little home for themselves, and I think they're so cute. I don't know how long lasting they are, but comment down below, guys, and share your thoughts. I'm so excited to hear what you all think, because I think it's a great initiative, and I can't wait to see in the next couple of months. I don't know when it will be all official, but yeah, I'm excited to see what they have to say and how that'll come to be. And yeah, so leave your comments, let us know what you think, and roll on the cabins.
Now, until things change, do we have any tips for you? Honestly, last time I was hunting for a house was 5 years ago, so I don't really know what to tell you except the standard things. Keep looking on the sites, and keep an eye on local groups. By that I mean every single town. Like Galway is not that big of a city, and there's at least 7 or 8 Facebook groups. I know nobody uses Facebook anymore, but people use it for this. Go to Facebook groups about renting and housing in that particular locality where you are. That might help. Other than that, I think she has some advice.
Notice boards, guys, in workplaces. people are always putting up things like houses to rent on those places. It could be a notice board in like your workplace, or it could be in a gym you're going to, or any of those kind of places where there is a board and there's a possibility of a notice for renting an accommodation on. And you can also ask people you work with if they have any rooms available in their places that you could possibly rent, and word of mouth. That's always a good way of asking, you know, asking strangers. I had a girl ask me, just met her on the bus one day, if I knew if there was any houses to rent around our local area here. Now, unfortunately, I didn't, but recently I was talking to another person and they were saying they were trying to find someone nice to live with them. So I have taken note of that accommodation, and if someone was to ask me again, I would be happy to share that information. But yes, but definitely groups on Facebook, as himself said, and there's also like Instagram. That's another one where people, I'm sure, there must be like a housing thingy up there, asking people that you work with, checking the notice boards and work in gyms and all that stuff. And I think that's kind of it. That's quite all my tips, I think. Or take out a mortgage.
From a moral standpoint, what do you think about landlords just charging 2,000 euros for a room? Because most of them are doing it illegally. I would say at least 50% of the people renting here that I know, 50% of them don't have any kind of contract or anything. It's just all in the grey books or whatever you want to call it.
Under the table, you know. It's all not registered because you have to register with the Irish Tenants Board, I think it's called, if you are a landlord here. So everything is quite official. If anything goes wrong, the things are covered, all that stuff, which is so important, and I'm all for it and I support. But definitely, there's a lot of, I think, crooked house owners here renting and just taking, you know, thousands each month from tenants, which I think is totally unfair and it should be checked on. And yeah, I don't like that personally, and I don't think a lot of people do. So if you guys have any thoughts and experiences and all that kind of stuff, definitely let us know down below.
If you have any disgusting landlord stories, also share it here so we can shame people.
Exactly, because I think it's disgusting to be charging thousands, especially for a house that is, sorry for cursing, but crappy quality. I was just speaking to a girl that I met in my knitting club, and their door was not able to be closed. It was broken.
Oh,
and
yeah,
the only way the door was closed was by the girl sticking a chair in it at night time, which is totally not safe. It was a household of girls. The place is covered in mould, and she's getting sick nearly every month because of the mould situation, and it was brought to the attention of the landlord several times. But she was saying recently that she was in her bed and she just heard someone come up the stairs. She assumed it was one of the girls that she lives with, but it was actually a man that had recently been in the house and was having drinks with another roommate or housemate, whatever you call them, but he came back uninvited another time, knew the door wasn't, you know, locked and doesn't close properly, so he just made his way up into this girl's room and frightened the bejesus into her. So this is the stuff we're talking about, guys. People are paying thousands for these houses, and this is what you're getting. Potential rapists coming into the house in the middle of the night.
Yeah, not something to laugh about, but
It
yeah,
isn't. It's awful.
there's all
It's
kind of
scary.
crazy stories out there. Comment section, as we already said, let us know what you think about all of this. Let us know what you think about the new proposal of the government about the modular houses and stuff like that. Let us know again, do you think it would be possible to just put a modular house on a land you own? Or I don't understand actually, does it need to be next to some main house or something? I don't know. Let us know. And yeah, anything we want to add before we end this?
It's a fucking lovely day. It's a beautiful day here compared to last week.
You're freezing. Liar.
Oh, it's lovely. It's
A
very
liar.
nice. No, I'm not. It's a beautiful, beautiful March day. We're rolling into spring nice and slowly compared to last week's fucking Baltic.
Rolling backwards. If you like this video, press the like button. If you didn't, press the dislike one. If you loved it, if you found it helpful, press the subscribe button. Check our Patreon, check our socials. If you want to hang out more, I will be live streaming on our gaming channel after this. Basically, it's every weekend at 7 or 8 p.m. Irish time. something like that.
And you can also come and live chat on that gaming thing too. We'd
Yeah,
be there
that's part of live streaming.
chatting. But people don't understand this. I didn't quite understand that either. But you know that there's a little area underneath the video
I
where
think they
people
know.
chat.
I think they know.
And I love chatting and he loves playing and we're good crack.
See you in the next one. Right?
Bye guys! No, but first we forgot to tell the people about our Patreon.
Okay.
Guys, we have a Patreon and I think it's the best thing to brown bread and a cup of tea. It only costs the price of a cup of tea, a pint of Guinness, maybe a new modular home once a month. We'll leave the little Patreon clicky thing somewhere around here so you can click it and then join us in our little group. We have a lovely bunch of people there, our little community. Hi Patreonettes. And yeah, we get, got the chills there. You get a live, monthly live with us. Quite monthly-ish, unless something happens and we may have to push it on to a second month. But we chat every day and we share lives there and we actually bond people now. That is our thing. And yeah, and we love it. And we love communicating and actually making friends with all you lovely people on YouTube. And so if you'd like to be part of our flock and help us become full-time YouTuber babies, you can help us by joining our Patreon. And and I appreciate it. And we will see you in the next one. That's all I need to say. And my eye is watering and now I got a pain in my eye because there's a hair in it. And that's all I have to say. So let's go guys, time to go home and make another tea. Cheers. Bye.